May I approach?
Yes.
When you first testified on June 18th, Doctor, you were asked questions trying to identify what you thought that wound was. And this is your June 18, 2024 testimony. On page 37, line 7, the questions begin. And you were asked what you thought they were. You can read any part you want, but line 7 might be a starting point.
Yes, I said that which are consistent with teeth marks. They also could be possibly consistent with nail marks.
Dr. Russell, I'm just going to ask you to keep your voice up, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. That was your first testimony last year, yes?
Yes.
Okay. And then did you testify a couple days later and again repeated the same opinion, teeth or nail marks?
May I see it?
I'm asking if you remember.
Yes, I remember testifying.
Do you remember after you worked on your report and submitted your report?
Yes.
After your consultations, do you remember changing that opinion regarding number one? Do you remember changing that opinion?
No.
Do you remember changing from either teeth or possibly claw marks to being very specific, claiming that it was definitely teeth marks?
No.
Are there different types of teeth in a dog?
Yes.
Okay. The pointy teeth, the big ones, those are called canines,
Correct.
and the smaller ones are incisors.
Correct.
There are 6 incisors in a healthy dog on the top and bottom between the canines.
Correct.
Okay. Did you, when you testified subsequently to the original proceedings, did you change your opinion from teeth or claw marks to specifically teeth and even more specifically canines?
Do you have a transcript?
I do, but I'm going to ask you the question. Do you remember changing your testimony from teeth or nails to being very certain that it was canines, not just teeth, canines that caused that wound?
I became more certain, yes.
You had never said that the canines caused these wounds before you filed the report, ever, did you?
I may not have, that's true.
And so after you did your report, you shifted from teeth and nails to canines. Do you remember that?
I don't think it's a shift.
No one would ever refer to a dog's nails as canines, would they?
No, I don't think so.
That would be inaccurate, wouldn't it?
Yes,
That would be a mistaken use of the word.
I believe so.
When you testified, December of 2024, you didn't say nails could have caused this wound. You didn't say generally teeth. You said canines.
I believe that, and that's true. I believe that canine teeth caused that wound.
Did you have any new information about photographs that would help you change your opinion from teeth and nails to canines?
Well, I had been challenged. I had testified several times. I reviewed the case several times and challenged, and each time I reviewed the case, I became more certain that these were from canine teeth. And actually, there's other marks there, but these are from teeth.
You say more certain. You had never said canines before. ever, until that recent hearing. Isn't that true?
I said teeth.
Canines.
It doesn't matter. I said teeth.
Top-
Canines are some of the teeth.
Upper or lower canines?
Upper.
And if it's upper canines, you testified previously that the point of entry would be here at the bottom and the dog would pull this way. That's what you testified to. Yes?
No, I believe you misunderstood then. The point of entry is up there. The first initial point of contact is there. And the dog pulled this way, or Mr. O'Keefe pulled his arm the opposite way.
Dr. Russell, you don't recall that you said that the bigger circles are the point of entry, the dog pulled this way, and then I asked you, how could a dog pull this way when the arc is like this? The dog's mouth would have to be in backwards. Remember that conversation we had?
Objection, Your Honor.
I'm going to allow.
Do you remember that conversation? You said that the point of entry would be the bigger circle, pulled this way, and then I questioned, how could a dog's arc look like this if the teeth went that way?
No, I don't recall that
Don't
at all.
remember that conversation
No.
we had? Okay. And so, inevitably, when you look at this part of the wound alone, have you expressed an opinion that you're unable on its own to be able to tell whether this was caused by a dog?
Which part of the wound?
Taking any of these alone, let's start with number one. Haven't you expressed an opinion that taking this alone, you would not be able to say that was from a dog bite?
That is correct. In and of themselves, they're not that specific or characteristic. However, as a group, they are highly characteristic of a dog
So if
injury.
Mr. O'Keefe's arm only had this wound and nothing else, by virtue of what you're telling us, you would not be able to offer an opinion that this was consistent with a dog bite.
That very first wound
Yes.
up there, closest, I agree. Yes.
In fact, you've testified about this very issue before. If this was the only wound on Mr. O'Keefe, number two, you would not be able to say that the injury is consistent with a dog bite.
Correct.
I'm going to go through all of these just so we're clear. Same thing with number three. You've provided opinions on this before. If you look at this wound alone, in isolation, you would not be able to say that it came from a dog bite.
Correct.
Four, pardon me. Yep. Four, same. Looking at the wound alone, you would not be able to say it came from a dog bite.
Correct.
Same for five and same for six.
Correct.
Now, when you testified before your recent testimony, you never had that qualification. When you came into court, you were saying that when you looked at these wounds individually, you were saying that you could identify it as a dog bite.
I disagree with that characterization.
Number two, what caused this wound, Dr. Russell?
Number two, I believe that was dog bite or scratch, but mostly I believe dog bite. And because there's a punctate, little tiny, pinpoint almost, lesion there and there, which could represent bottom teeth.
Okay, so you're using words like could, and we're talking about a reasonable degree of medical certainty. So when you look at this wound here, you said that you are sure or not sure what caused this wound.
I'm saying that individually, that wound, that's correct. I'm not sure individually what that wound was caused by. However, again, as I mentioned earlier, the overall pattern of wounds is what I am convinced of.
I want to go through each of these wounds separately so we understand what you actually recognize with the methodology and what you don't. So looking at wound number two, based on whatever methodology you've been using, are there any signs, indicators, objective criteria you can look at and tell us this is or is not a dog bite based on this methodology you have?
There are some characteristics that are suggestive of a dog bite or dog claw, including the fact that there are parallel lesions, and many of these, overall, by the way, parallel lesions are in the same general direction. So there are parallel lesions, and here they're associated with some punctate or point-like other abrasions right here. So they're consistent with being inflicted by a dog.
I appreciate you using some medical terms to describe this, but my question is more pointed. Is there anything about your methodology, something that stands out about these wounds, that you can say to a reasonable degree of medical certainty that these are consistent with a dog either biting or scratching?
These wounds all by themselves, not to a medical degree of certainty, no.
You said on this first wound, you thought this was from the canines. Those are the big upper teeth is what you're claiming, right?
Yes.
And you're saying today, anyways, starts here at the bottom and goes up. Is that
No.
your position today?
That's not what I said. I said the
Okay.
exact opposite.
So it starts here and comes down.
Correct.
Okay. And these two scratches, they're linear, just like these are linear, aren't they?
Yes.
But you have a problem with these because if these are the canines, you see the spacing there?
Uh-huh.
This is nowhere close, is it?
I didn't say that these were caused by canines. And spacing also, there's reasons why the spacing could be different.
Well, we can talk about that in a second. Are you suggesting that these not exact, these two linear abrasions, just like 1 and 2, are you suggesting the canines caused these?
I don't know what caused those, which teeth caused those, or which nails caused those.
When you testified last year on June 18th, you said that this was either teeth or claws. Can you give us any development of your opinions, whether or not you think that is teeth or claws?
Excuse me? No, well, I couldn't hear because of the fan.
When you testified on June 18th, you said wound number 2, the top 2 linear abrasions, you believe were either teeth or claws. You've shared with us now you have improved your study and have new opinions. Do you have a clearer opinion whether this is teeth or claws?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained, ask it differently, Mr.
Do you have an opinion whether this is teeth or claws or not something totally different than a dog?
I believe they are teeth or claws caused.
When you testified at trial and in that hearing that they were teeth or claws, you changed that opinion as well at the most recent hearings, didn't you?
No, I'm going to object to the word that was used and has been done before.
Mr. Brennan, word it differently.
Sorry?
Word it differently.
Okay. Did you testify at a more recent hearing that teeth made these, not teeth or claws, but teeth?
I may have, and I would like to see that.
May I
Can
approach?
you just hold 1 second? Could you please turn the fan off, Paul? Jerry's, is it okay if we turn the fan off so we can hear better? Thank you very much, Officer DeLong.
May I approach?
Yes.
From your December hearing, page 100, line 5, when you were asked about that second wound in December, and I asked whether you changed your opinion from teeth or claws to just teeth, weren't you asked specifically about that on page 100, line 5?
Yes. But may I read it?
Sure, I'll read it with you.
Okay. I said, I'm not sure on the second set. So this is the set just above the elbow.
I'm not sure exactly what teeth made these. They could, one of them could, one set of these could be canine, one part of this, and then adjacent incisor tooth. But I'm not sure on the second set, so this is the set just above the elbow.
Yeah, I think the first part of that paragraph is talking about the first set
Yes.
up up there close to the shoulder. And then the sentence, but I'm not sure on the second set, so this is the set that's just above the elbow. I said I'm not sure.
And then, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Are you done?
Oh. Yeah, actually, I did make another comment. What is it? So, however, what is interesting and certain is that there's an upper set and a lower set. So, this mark was an upper tooth. This is a lower tooth. What I was referring to is this mark here and that mark, and then this mark here and this mark here. So it appears that this is from upper, and these are from lower. That's what I was referring to.
And so when you first described this wound as teeth or claws, at the most recent hearing, you had a certain opinion that this was teeth, didn't you?
Yes, I was leaning towards teeth. Correct.
Well, it didn't seem like you were leaning. You said these were from the upper teeth.
Yes.
You said it matter-of-factly, not with any qualification. Your claim at the last hearing is this was from teeth.
That's what I believe.
And today you're saying you don't know if these were teeth or claws.
Not with 100% certainty.
You didn't qualify 100% certainty. You were asked your opinion, Dr. Russell. You
Yes.
were asked, what do you think? And you didn't say, well, not 100% certainty. Your claim, the first time you testified, teeth or claws. Recently, you said teeth, and now you're saying you're not sure.
No, I'm saying I believe that those marks are from teeth, but I'm not 100% certain.
Suffice to say, looking at wound 2 alone, you cannot say this was caused by a dog.
In and of itself, no.
What tooth do you think caused this wound?
I don't know.
Do you think this in any way could be caused by dog teeth if you're claiming that this is dog teeth?
Excuse me?
Do you think there's any way these two could be caused by dog teeth if you're saying that these two were caused by dog teeth?
Yes, it could be, but I don't know which teeth. And I don't know the extent of the bite, how much impact there was, and how much pressure, how much contact there was between the teeth and the skin.
The canines are the longer teeth in a dog's mouth, aren't they?
They are.
And when a dog bites, it's very common for the canines to puncture, isn't it?
It's common if there's enough force, and it's common that you might have two canines if the strike is perpendicular to the skin. But if you have a tangential strike, a partial strike where only part of the teeth impact, you'll get different configurations.
Look at the spacing, Dr. Russell.
Did you say strike or strike?
Strike with a K.
Look at the spacing, Dr. Russell. Mm-hmm. A dog causing these wounds, the canines are not going to have such a dramatic distance between them because dog canines don't move, do they?
They don't, and I'm not claiming that these two parallel stripes in this case, or abrasions here, I'm not claiming that those two were caused by canines.
You think a dog is going to leave a wound with linear abrasions using its incisors as opposed to its canines? Is that your opinion?
It's possible if that's the only part of the mouth or the jaw that actually touched the skin, if it didn't go back as far as the canines.
Did you ever look at the underside of Mr. O'Keefe's arm?
I did.
Posterior side?
Excuse me. Pictures, yes.
Yeah. And when you looked at the photographs of the posterior side of Mr. O'Keefe's arm, did you find anything conspicuously absent from underneath his arm?
Well, first of all, let me clarify. Part of this is the posterior aspect of the arm. So are you asking me, did I look at the underside of the arm, the fleshy part
That's
of the arm?
exactly what I'm asking. It's a question I've asked before. When you look at the other side